evening, ladies and gentlemen. Guten Abend, meine Damen und Herren. Ich kann auch Deutsch, aber nicht flüssig. Alright, I'm going to do my talk in English, just like Shazwani said. Steve Jobs once said, only those crazy enough are the ones who change the world. I've basically done so many things, from being an amateur footballer, amateur musician, geographer, journalist, name it all. But one thing that stood out as I kept discovering myself is the fact that I like people. I like to work with people, to groom young people, to see how they can become better. And that led me to new discoveries. So I want to say that AI found me. I didn't find AI because I was trying to solve problems, and then I got to discover that AI could actually help me solve those problems when people fucked me up. You know? So, so it's sort of a mix of AI and people. That's what my story of Fuck Up is about. So, this is me. I've always been very curious, like I said, from my childhood. Fortunately, I was only able to find this photo. Out of so many other photos, I picked this because it sort of reminds me of my troublesome childhood. You can see I'm not smiling. I was always very curious, trying different things, you know, and I used to get whipped by my parents and my older ones because I'm the youngest in my family. So I had to keep this photo to remind me of my childhood. So along the line of you know, discovering myself, I got to discover that out of all of these, you know, curiosities, connection to people was the one that, you know, stood out for me. And after I graduated from university, some of us who perhaps are familiar with Africa and Nigeria, to be precise, you get to know that, you know, especially the city where I come from in Nigeria, Lagos, perhaps it's also one of the reasons why I had to try a lot of things from childhood, because you're always on the move, trying different things. You know, so after university, I had to try something out, which was my first journey into entrepreneurship. And I started a project called The Separate Ways after I discovered that, one, I like to work with people, and I also would want to see how I can save the world, you know. And I connect it back to the, you know, quote of Steve Jobs that says only those who are crazy enough can change the world. Well, have I changed the world? Well, we get to discover, you know. So I tried to change the world by working with people, and I started a project called The Separate Ways. I got a grant from the United States Department of State, and I started an environmental project. And I got a group of volunteers and a group of young people, and we started this project about recycling, where I was responsible for ensuring that I can transfer knowledge about recycling and the environment to them. And we did a couple of, you know, projects for 2 years, which was quite successful, covered by local media and international media. And during this period, I happened to find another means. Like I said, I'm always very curious to leave Nigeria to come to Germany to study for my master's. And it was entirely different from what I had studied for my bachelor's. So this time I was coming to study media in Germany. But for my bachelor's, I studied geography and planning. You know, so whilst I had built this team, you know, in Nigeria to create this beautiful project that was successful, one thing I discovered was that I fucked up in one area. Despite the fact that I like to work with people, I didn't build people who could help me sustain the project. So what was the fuck up exactly? They were not very skilled to run a project or a business in my absence. So my departure from Nigeria was sort of the end of the project because it couldn't continue, because I was responsible for finding funding, getting customers, and moving things ahead. So it sort of ended the project abruptly after it was successful for 2 years. While I was in Germany, I was studying for my master. This was back in 2017 to 2018. I am a very stubborn person, as much as I can look calm, but I'm very stubborn mentally. So I was looking for a way to still keep this project going. What can I do? I was thinking really hard. Should I raise a new team? Should I look for funding? What would be the solution? So I decided to create a new team, and the idea was to have a team in Germany and also have a team in Nigeria. Luckily for me, I had always had friends who are in tech, so I decided to go virtual and create an e-learning system that could help the young people that I've always been working with to continue the project with their tutors and supervisors, and then also ensure that there could be a monitoring and evaluation system in place to ensure that the project can be done with the right quality and results. So with that in mind, the project started with this new set of people. Those in Germany were not really IT skilled. They were more of into sustainability and environmental policy and all of that. So they jumped on board because they found the project interesting. It was exciting, and they just wanted to be part of the moving train. So I still realized that these people I brought on board were not prepared, neither was I prepared. Why? This leads us to the second fuck up. The second fuck up is the fact that there was no funding. I was still studying, and to sustain an IT project, even if you have IT skilled people, you need to build infrastructure. So there was no money in my pockets. I couldn't pay these guys. They were basically volunteering. And these other people who joined in Germany, they were also volunteering. Though they were experts at what they do, at some point when there was no money to be paid, passion waned out. The guys in Nigeria also their passion also waned out. So I was sort of back to ground zero after 1 year, and I said, is this how this project is going to end? Because we're already building, but we couldn't sustain it. So how did this now lead me to discovering AI? I finished my, during this period, I had to sort of give it a final break, and I said this project will be pending for now. I'll rather focus on my master's. So I focused on my master's. I took a break, but whilst I was, taking this break, focusing on my master's, I decided to say, okay, this time around, I would probably pivot, so I'll leave this project alone. I would rather do something else, but in the line of marketing, which I'm already gaining expertise. So I took another bold step of faith, and I said I'm going to continue this same brand, but as a marketing agency. But I don't want any team. I want to work alone this time, because one, I realized that I fucked up in getting a team or building a team, even if these people enjoy working with me and I enjoy working with them. I've also fucked up not being able to raise funds to sustain the project and the startup. So let me do a lot of the work myself, build something that can be attractive in itself. When people see it, they will see a system in place, a structure in place, and it will be easier for them to connect to it and to also come in to build it to the next level. So I then started, restructuring and working as a consultant and a freelancer. And it was during the process I got to realize that there's actually opportunity in what I'm doing, because I was making some money on the side and I was beginning to see results. But there was still a problem. The problem was the fact that people fucked me up again. This time, not the team I have built, but the team I had to collaborate with, because I had to work with freelancers to ensure that projects are delivered. They were delivering projects late, quality not guaranteed or not met. I started losing clients, I started losing credibility, and at this point I got really frustrated, because I'm in Germany. I just finished my master's. No fund, nothing, and this is sort of my only source of sustenance. And these guys are trying to fuck me up, So I thought of just quitting, go do something else. But it was at this point I said something just came to my mind, and that small voice was AI. That's why I said AI found me, I didn't find AI. So, and that voice said, well, the problem here is you have clients, you have a skill, and you have people who are not delivering. So you are not actually the problem, it's the people. And you have people who are willing to pay you. So now that you found AI as a solution, what do? It means you need a platform. But I'm not an IT guy. I had another problem. So I had to go back to the drawing board, which was for me a thing I didn't want to do again. So start recruiting a tech co-founder, sort of starting the whole crazy journey again. I had to think over it all over, and I finally decided, well, if I'm going to solve a problem, just as Steve Jobs has said, only those who are crazy enough to change the world are the ones who actually do. Then I have to take the pain and do it. So I went through the process of recruiting a tech co-founder for 6 months to 1 year, screened and screened. There's one thing that differentiates successful entrepreneurs from the unsuccessful ones, and that is pure perseverance. Thank you.
Come on, come on.